Spills to Rayner. Rayner to Cameron. Cameron around the corner. Goal. Umpires back up as well. Not happy about it, Morris either. McCluggage through traffic on the left. Extraordinary. This man is just in sensational touch.
And Archie said himself, well, Carroll didn't know what was about to hit him. Freight train, Ashcroft kicks the goal. Darcy Ford hardly knew what to do with it, then heard the call. Bailey finishes. Slick work from the Lions.
Cameron's got it all to do. From behind, McGovern was there. Off hands. Would you believe it? Darcy Ford into the open goal. 12:66. An impressive display from one of the contenders.
The Brisbane Lions Fancast is back. It is a Sunday night, and Thursday night's game against Carlton seems like forever ago. We're going to have to make a couple of changes on Friday night for the Bulldogs. Luckily, we had a pretty good performance in the VFL and some soldiers coming back. Whether it's enough to get them into the AFL team, I don't know. That's what we're here to chat about, Patrick, because we got a good win against the Blues. A very good win. There's lots to talk about. It was a really great team performance. Josh Dunkley walked away with the inaugural Robert Walls medal. Wilmot was fantastic. Jared Berry was fantastic. Charlie Cameron was back to somewhere near his best. The whole midfield was basically electric the whole game. It was a fantastic game to watch. The pressure was intense, especially inside the forward 50. The only real bummer, well, two bummers, is a Achilles injury to one of everyone's favourite clubmen in Noah Ainsworth, or Noah Ainsworth if you're Luke Hodge, and a suspension to Zach Bailey. And at this stage, we don't know if they're going to appeal that. I'd be surprised if they do, but like I said, we're going to be forced to make a couple of changes for Friday night. A good game, Patrick. A good game.
Yeah, it was... I mean, it was a game against Carlton. Carlton showed up and were far less awful than they've been in the two previous weeks, while still being a little bit kind of terrible. And yeah, we basically just played for 3 quarters and went home. So it was good. So it did what we needed to do.
We certainly did, and that third quarter really was where it was all building to something really quite magnificent. The pressure, you could tell from the outset, was just... Well, it was there to be seen. It was something really special in the forward 50. I mean, tackles from Loam and Will Ashcroft got a hold in the ball inside forward 50. Charlie Cameron, as I said, he hit the scoreboard, but his tackling inside 50 was amazing. Even Logan Morris and Eric Hipwood were doing their bit. For big guys, they're chasing people down, forcing turnovers. It really was as close to a complete performance that we've seen in a while, especially, we got the win against Port Adelaide, and that was good, but Fags certainly did lament the pressure and the tackle count, so you could tell that was certainly front of mind, and especially off a 5-day break. Obviously, by the time the last quarter rolled around, it was, cue in the rack type stuff a little bit, but they'd obviously worked across it throughout the week.
I think nothing really encapsulated that game more than those kind of back-to-back holding the balls on, I think it was Matty Carroll for them, yeah. 32, the guy that just sort of stood there twice and got rolled both times. And
the first one was a bit, he was a bit unlucky because he took a step before he just, Cammy Rayner went bang and then Levi jumped on it. The second one, he had an eternity to think about what he was going to do.
And it was just the same guy. It was in about, I think they were like a minute apart or something. And you're just like, oh, that guy's having a bad time. And he had a not a great game, that guy. I could swear I've never seen him before. So one of those types, but seems a nice chap. But no, it was the result was good. The method of getting there was largely pretty good. But yeah, there's some pain to go with it, which is not good.
No,
so
very, very not good, because he's unashamedly one of our favourites here on the podcast, and most Lions fans
we've been
would love
championing him for years before he got into the team. So, years is a bit much. He was in the team, then he was out of the team, and then it was sort of like, we need that guy in the team. So
yeah, and it's going to be, it's weird because obviously Starcevic missed a big chunk. and Noah really lifted, and Jasper Fletcher in that sort of lockdown defensive role. Stas comes back, they get a couple of weeks together, and now Noah's going to be missing for the foreseeable future and probably won't get back into the team until midway through next year, you'd have to think, because it's going to eat into his preseason and everything. It's a real pisser for a lot of different reasons. But what we did see was Oscar McInerney come back into the team, and it meant that we actually still held on to Darcy Fort. Sam Day was the unlucky, well, not omission. He had a personal thing going on, whether it was illness or something going on in his life, whatever. Nobody knows.
I think there was another death in the family for him.
Yeah. Oh, God, he's had a rough year, hasn't he? Jeez, that is grim. So he was left out of the team. Oscar came back in. Certainly not his best game, but I guess I probably wasn't expecting a huge amount. He had a huge game in the twos a couple of weeks ago, his first game back at senior level. I thought Pitternet certainly probably won that battle across the night, and a good day for Mark Pitternet to have arguably the best game of his career as well, topped off with a big barrel. But what did you make of the two rucks?
Not something I like, but I thought that it facilitated getting O back into the team whilst not kind of I thought Owie was really rusty.
Yeah.
But it sort of wasn't the case of you weren't having to drop Fort to get O in there. And then I think it's just a matter of horses for courses, because I think just structurally, I think Day probably works better than the two rucks. I don't love two rucks generally. There was a little bit shades of North Melbourne with the Fort and Big O and then Gardner, and I was having to find myself counting the number of talls we had in our team and being like, okay, so it's 6. It's still one fewer than it was against North Melbourne. So we're still in my golden range. So that abated my concern early on. But yeah, it was good to see him back out there. He still seems a little bit off, which is probably understandable. But if that's just kind of a bit of ring rust coming off, and then what have we got? 7-day, 8-day break until the next one. He should be good to go, but it depends on how we want to play this going forward. So selectors will know more than I will. But yeah, we'll just have to go from there.
I guess it depends largely how Oscar pulls up, because that's obviously been the big issue for him is, the soreness and how his back's coping with the workload. So if the teams come out on Thursday night and Oscar's omitted, I wouldn't be totally surprised. I wouldn't be surprised either if Fort gets omitted and Day comes back in, depending on how things are going in his circle. So that's going to be a bit of wait and see. Two people we are going to obviously have to replace are Noah and Zach, and we'll get to that when we get to team changes. But I guess quick thought on Zach's suspension.
Firstly, I can't make sense of people that can't see the head clash in the footage. Yeah. There are people that just fully will refuse to see it, which if you bump and connect heads, you're at the behest of it. Now, the thing for me is that I don't know that I would call that medium impact, because I think if you look at what quantifies medium impact, although they're subjective and although they're kind of taken into account, it didn't force the player off with a HIA. It didn't stop play. Barely anyone remonstrated. There was a bit of this and that. And Haynes touched his cheekbone a couple of times. So,
and I think that was largely and exclusively to try and get a free kick.
I think so too. And I think if they were to argue it, it would be attempting to argue the contact severity down from medium to low, which is really hard to do. So I don't know that they're going to waste time with that. Bailey had a bit of hamstring stuff.
That's the other thing
during the game.
He was getting a lot of attention on that hamstring, and I was pretty worried when they kept him out there, to be honest. So, I mean, he might have been having a week off anyway with, hamstring tightness, so it's probably no real loss. But he was, aside from his goal kicking, he had a pretty good game again.
To have 6 shots at goal, although he sprayed a few. I think, and also his link-up play, it's like when his input numbers-wise in terms of goals is down, like it was against Adelaide. He had an all-time nightmare against Adelaide. But his actual link-up play in the field is really good on both games. So you're kind of going, dude, just put it together. Put them together like you did the week before. we're laughing. Now, question. Do we want tinfoils now or do we want them not now?
No, let's go. It's early on in the piece. Let's bust out the tinfoils.
I'll pose you a question. So you strike someone or you high contact to the head, a player, and if they get concussed, what's the impact force? Severe.
Yep.
If they don't get concussed, what is it generally? It's generally low and they get a fine, right?
Depends on, I guess
more
it
often than
depends
not.
on
Yeah,
the
more
strike,
often than not. But the thing is, it's the outcome, the injury that causes the impact to go to skyrocket. So if you were to say hit someone in the head like Mitch Robinson, that guy's never going to show any kind of like low impact because you're hitting a brick. But we saw with McInerney hitting Starcevic that Starcevic was obviously primed for concussion. It's a severe impact where an impact of another player would be low if it was a different player. Where do you stand on Sam Darcy shoving a guy in the chest and collapsing his lung, which for every other player, low impact, stick with me, but the player's rib breaks and collapses his lung? Should that not be another outcome situation? Now, I don't think it'll be suspended. And I don't think it should
be, yeah.
No, I don't think it should be. But if they're going to do the same thing with other offences, they can't not take it into consideration. Because, it's something that happens in football. You push a guy, but this guy, his rib breaks or, punctures his lung.
Happened, yeah.
How is that any different? If someone had done that to a head and someone got concussed, they'd get 3 weeks. And if they had not gotten concussed, it would be a fine. So, I don't know. That's just my weird...
Well, to indulge your tinfoil hatness, there's no class action suit revolving around collapsed lungs yet, so... Well,
we'll have to get the troops out for that one. So, I just a little bit when you're looking at these things and they're so structured in what it ticks this box, and you go, well, if you're going to eggshell skull it, do it with everything.
Yeah.
Because I don't really want Sam Darcy to do that to me, but I don't think that it would collapse my lung personally. We got too much padding. So anyway, we'll move on. Yes. So that was, if you're a listener that doesn't listen to the end, you get that stuff normally in minutes 50 through 60. So if you want to edit that one and chunk it to the end, do that.
3 things that I want to point out that I really enjoyed. 1, Charlie Cameron, anytime he kicked a goal, like everyone got around him. I really enjoyed that. I think whether it's just the confidence building and like, I don't know how outspoken or how whatever he's been in amongst the group of how he's struggling with form and confidence or whatever. So when he hits the scoreboard and does his role and, chases and tackles, like everyone got around him. It was really good to see, especially considering, the start of last year and the rumours of unrest and all revolving around him and all that sort of stuff. We don't need to go into that. Second one I really enjoyed was obviously Levi crumbed that goal from the Cam Rayner tackle. Levi celebrated that goal for about 2 seconds and then immediately went straight to Cam Rayner. And I think that is a real show of growth for him because he could have easily just sort of carried on like that was all his hard work. But I really respected the fact that he took that second and gone, that's Cam Rayner's hard work. That's got me that goal. So he got around him there. That was really good. And number 3 was that Huma Kluggage goal, storming through a congested pack and then kicking it on the opposite foot. That gave me a Woody Harrelson. So that was real good. That was one of the better goals I've seen this year.
That was almost like Judd-like, and I don't mean that in it's just the idea of the bursting through, the kind of patting it with one hand and then see ya. That was good. Yeah. Liked it, obviously. Yeah. I liked the first goal of the game. Do you want to explain it to me, Brooksy?
The first goal of the game, that was a Jared Berry goal.
It was. And do you know what I Jared Berry goal.
Yeah.
I teed you up there, you donkus.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Obviously, storming through the 50, after a couple of sprayed shots from our mate Zach Bailey, got us off to a good start. And then I feel bad for was it Lockie Cowan that hit the umpire and we got a goal out of that. That's a bit shitty for them.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, was he 100% going to mark that?
No, it did look like it was floating high anyway, but still.
And wide, and also it's Carlton. So, if anything, if that's going straight to him, it's still only a 95% chance. So,
yeah. What did you make of the matchups down back? So obviously, Froggy had the job on Charlie Curnow, and I thought deep inside the 50, I thought Froggy was pretty good. Obviously, working up the ground, Charlie Curnow got a fair amount of contested marks up the wing, and his ball use, his field kicking was really good. So he did sort of affect the score chains, but obviously he left the game goalless again. But I thought, deep in the clinches in the D50, Froggy's defense was really good on Charlie.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been, pain that would have gone to him ordinarily. Not the case. And you're looking at it going, okay, well, it's a similar to Jeremy Cameron thing. I think Charlie Curnow's got a little bit more kind of upper body strength to Jez, if I'm being perfectly honest, which I think is why the matchup doesn't quite work as well. The running capabilities are a little bit different as well. I think Curnow's a bit more burst rather than the kind of endurance style. So, I mean, it's the best we can do at that point, although when Ainsworth did go down, I think they did swap it to Gardner going onto him, which it might have just been the state of the game or whatever, but he seemed to not have really any impact after that, although they did kick more goals inside 50. So not him, though.
Yeah, he's having a quiet month, Charlie Curnow, and I'm sure Carlton fans got plenty to be unhappy about, and that is just another factor for them to be unhappy about. They did get us in contested possessions, and ground ball gets and all that sort of stuff. So the tough stuff they got us. But if David King mentioned it once, he mentioned it 1,000 times on the broadcast, is the inside to outside game that they just have simply not got, and their ball use is it's been public since round one that their ball use is something that needs to be worked on. So probably, obviously a room for improvement they're going to take away from this is getting not beat up in the contest, but certainly not getting it done to the likes of Cripps and Chera and Hewitt.
Yes and no. They're so one-dimensional, Carlton, that it's sort of when someone is that focused on one thing, not necessarily beating them in it when you beat them in every other area in the ground doesn't really matter. And I don't think it's overly important because, largely in that game, I know Cripps tried to put them on his back for like a quarter in the second. But, what's George Hewitt doing, really? It's not really happening. Chera, Chera is kind of like one of the what-ifs where he should be a Dunkley type player, but he just isn't. And then when you're putting Jesse Motlop in at centre bounce to get a point of difference, you're in trouble. And in fairness, he did provide that point of difference.
I thought he was pretty good, actually. The couple of CBAs he went to, I thought he did. He added something different, a bit of speed, bit of burst.
Yeah, but you would want that coming from virtually anybody else, So it's sort of it's a strange thing where you go, well, he does something in that team. Zach Williams a little bit as well, where they do something different and it makes them look so exceptional comparative to the other players around them, when I think particularly Jesse Motlop is a pretty average player and Zach Williams is not as good as he appears. But it's sort of like if you're a really not super tall guy, but you're next to a bunch of really small people, you look like you're about 7'3". But I don't know. It's just it's Carlton. They're weird. But yeah, I don't think they'll be overly concerned with losing contested possession. Maybe ground ball, and also we stopped for a quarter, so they were getting easy ball out of the centres in the fourth quarter. So, which is understandable if you're going to take the 5-day break into consideration. So,
I thought all in all we handled it really well, and by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, it was the game was done and we could probably afford to take the foot off the gas a little bit. So, yeah, all in all, fantastic game. Pretty happy to bank the win. But it does leave us with a very tough last 6 games between now and the end of the home and away season. So we're going to have a chat about that. Before we do, I just want to ask you a question on your thoughts on Michael Voss, the threat, and the subsequent ban. 5 years for that Collingwood member who sent that message through the antisocial hotline.
I saw a comment about it, which I thought encapsulates the whole thing pretty well. I can't remember it verbatim, but it was along the lines of, imagine watching your team play and win by 10 goals, and then threatening the opposition coach that you've just beat, and then getting banned for 5 years. Like, that is so... You cannot make that up. Like, if you had told that as a story, it wouldn't be believed. It's too unbelievable, but it happened. So... not great, obviously.
Yeah.
But
did you think by the time, I guess the way it was all sort of...
did you see what the actual message said?
Yeah, so the timeline of it all was really strange. It's like, a vile threat has been sent to Michael Voss, and I don't know if it was sent directly to his mobile, a letter at his house, in what context, and it's it's the antisocial hotline. Oh, it's a Collingwood member, this vile threat, and then the content of the message gets released after the ban's been handed down. And by the time, 3 or 4 days later, after all this stuff, you look at the message and I thought to myself, ooh, it's 5 years might be a bit too much for that.
Call me, whatever, but it's not too dissimilar to the ones that the police... You know how the police do it on Twitter where they're like, we'd like to report 22 missing people from the MCG when a team gets plonked. It's not really that different to that.
Obviously, the second part of the text is completely unnecessary. It's I'd like to preemptively report the murder of Michael Voss. Now, I don't know if that's him saying, I'm going to murder Michael Voss, or if that's him saying...
I can categorically say that he's not saying that. It's just saying, I would be... sure that he's saying the Carlton fans are going to Carlton fan and he's going to be burned in an effigy. It's stupid. I don't mind the precedent because that's the kind of stuff that... don't waste the time of the anti-social behaviour. I guess there's an element of that's kind of calling 000 and reporting some garbage. So, don't abuse the pathways that are there for a good reason. So, but, it's... I think it's funnier that it's a Collingwood person that did it, to me, because just the narrative is so good around that. But don't do that. If you're thinking of doing it, don't do it.
No one's going to do it now. Obviously, no one's going to do it now.
Definitely not. God, I don't know why you would.
You're going to cop a 5-year ban from AFL venues. All right, well, let's get into some votes. Thanks to Hop On Brewery Tours. Book yourself a half or a full day tour to visit some of the best breweries across Brisbane and the Gold Coast at hoponbrewerytours.com.au. Matt and Joss, fantastic people, and they're actually going to be heading along to the Bulldogs game this Friday, so looking forward to catching up with them.
Beautiful. Are they going with you, or are they just going generally?
I did secure them some tickets, not near me, unfortunately, but we'll definitely catch up for a 4X or something.
Are they directly below you so you can just spit on them in the peanut gallery below?
I would never do that to such wonderful people.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. It's definitely your turn to go first.
Dunkley 3.
Yep.
Wilmot 2 and Neil 1.
Okay, lovely. I thought Zorko was very unlucky to miss out on a vote this week, and I definitely thought about it because I knew you wouldn't vote for him. Neil, of course, he was fantastic. I've gone the same 3 and 2. My 1 goes to Jared Berry because I thought he was fantastic, and I don't give him enough votes, so I thought today is a day I definitely needed to give him a vote. Thought about chucking Noah Answorth a vote as well, because up until he went off, he was playing really good. Especially his overhead marking was probably a real standout. Across the day. Probably. Well,
speaking of, that was, Jared Berry's contested mark out of Kerno on the wing was really good. His overhead ability, it's it's so good to see because we for so many years wanted that element of Jared Berry's game to be part of his game, but he'd been like, forgive the term, hamstrung by his shoulder. And he wasn't really able to go into contests like, the behemoth that he can be, and B, mark overhead. And that seems to have kind of evolved, righted itself, which is good. Yes, Zorko was good too.
Yeah, Zorko was good. I mean, all the small forwards, Loman was probably the poorer of all the small forwards, but he was still pretty good. I thought both the Ashcrofts were pretty good. Logan Morris had a really unlucky night again. It was just such an almost night, and obviously that huge pack mark that just simply wasn't paid, which I would be dirtier about if there wasn't one before that. I think it was Pitternet that took it, and like Fort just sort of slapped it out of his hands and they didn't pay it. So sort of, I guess a little bit of swings and roundabouts there. But Logan Morris was good without being great. The whole midfield was really, really good. Jasper Fletcher, again, always really good. So, yeah, it was a great team performance. It would have been very hard for people voting on that that medal.
Yeah, well, it sort of seemed like Dunkley kind of came from the shadows in the second half because I think him and Cripps sort of a bit went head to head. It wasn't quite as hard a tag as we've seen in the past, but Cripps kind of got the better of him in the second quarter, and then I thought Dunkley was exceptional. So.
Yeah, definitely. 13 tackles will tell you all you need to as well.
Yes. Also, little shout out to Darcy Fort's 2 minutes of madness where he just thread the needle with a handball and then also crumbed off the pack to score a goal. So that was amazing.
In what world is Charlie Cameron bringing the ball to ground in a 2-on-1 and then Darcy Fort getting the crumb? Yeah.
I don't know. And I've got to say, the more football of other teams and other halfbacks that I've been watching, the better Zorko's year is becoming to me. So
hey, he's slowly coming around.
Yes, fair enough.
Did you watch the Channel 7 or Fox coverage, by the way?
On Thursday, I watched the first quarter because I was slightly delayed with Dwayne.
Yeah.
And then I swapped over to the other mob because I don't like Dwayne.
Yeah, I'm not a big Dwayne fan. Matt Hill is sort of, he's all right.
Matt Hill gets stuff wrong because he's got too many other sports in his brain, mainly the insane ramblings of horses that I'm assuming he's he just gets players wrong, which is, fair enough. But the other mob, I think Brayshaw is better without BT next to him.
Yep.
Although I can't even remember who was on comms.
I think it was Hamish, wasn't it?
Hamish. Was it Hamish and BT? Or was it?
It
was. It was. Because, it was the day after. Yeah, right.
And then you had Kano.
Yeah, and Kane's funny.
Yeah, Kane's good. Good value. Quick. Also, we have to mention it. Shout out to Mark Pitnet from that 60-meter missile after the siren. That was absolutely... it was beautiful.
I didn't see it.
Oh, no.
No, because he took the mark and I was like, well, there's 0% chance he's getting this. I'm going to the bathroom.
Oh, no. I mean, you've seen it in retrospect. Yes, surely.
Yeah, it's it defies all laws of physics because he hits it about as hard as I don't know, what's something that doesn't hit very hard?
It was so good.
Modern R&B beat. It hit as hard as that. And it just kept going. So, yeah, I heard it and I was annoyed. I came out. I'm like, did he kick that? And Storm's like, yeah, he did. I'm like, okay, fair enough.
He had a good night, Pitnet. He had an interesting 5 minutes where he obviously hit the barrel, and then the second quarter he got done for holding the ball, and then Washi kicked the ball. And there's 5 Carlton players on the line, and Pitnet was the closest and took a fresh airy at it. And then, almost immediately after, he gets a crumb in the goal square, a nice little, marker 2-on-1 there. So he had an interesting little 5-minute period there. But yeah, it was a good game. All done and dusted in the rear view mirror. We got the Bulldogs on the way, and we're going to have to make 2 changes. Answorth out at this stage. Zach Bailey out. So. Kadeem Coleman did play in the 2s. He played. He didn't said it a lot. So
Didn't do much.
Yeah, and you know how we both feel about the balance of that back line. What we do know is that Jasper Fletcher can go back and play a really defensive role down there. So that is an option there. I'm inclined to bring Darcy Gardner in to the 22 as a defender and then have someone else as a sub.
You took the words out of my mouth, you cretinous friend. Because we have been living on a false economy of not having enough key defenders. So,
yeah. And we're coming up against Norton and Sam Darcy.
Yes, and it's just sort of the thing. When Starcevich came back, there wasn't a necessity to really, we had too many, and Jasper went back onto the wing, and then when Payne went down, it was like, okay, cool. Well, we're playing Jeremy Cameron and Shannon Neal, so we'll just 1v1 them, and we've done that for the last couple of weeks. So, yes, I think Dizzy should come in and play key defender and let Lester kind of roam. And I think that we're in a position where Wilmot's defensive ability and Jasper's ability to just play football and do what he's told really, really well can cover for Ainsworth, I think. I mean, we want Ainsworth there, but you're dealing with the next best thing. So I don't necessarily think rushing Coleman back in is functional given the balance. So
not just that, but clearly he's just got issues with this leg. So one game in the VFL where he's touched it 15 times is not enough to scurry him back in. He was fine, not fantastic. So we're still going to have to make two changes anyway. Zach Bailey will be going out. So Sam Marshall was really good. Probably his best game in the VFL. So I'm inclined to bring him in for another game as the sub or straight into the lineup. And then you're looking at another change. I'm thinking maybe Luke Beacon might be due for a call up as probably the sub and give Sam Marshall a full game. Other than that, you're looking at versatility and maybe Connor McKenna is the next up, or Jimmy Tunstall or Dev Robb.
Yeah, see, I'd be inclined to go Rev as a sub, just because he gives you that burst, and he's the sort of person that just can crop up wherever you sort of need. You can shovel stuff around. We've got enough players that can play enough positions, but I think you're on something. I think it'd be a good idea or a good time to play Marshall because Bailey's ostensibly been playing that wing half forward role, so you've got there'll be a lot of accountability on playing that role, but it's as good a time as any to kind of give him a full game. Don't put him on as a sub.
Yeah, I think I'd be really happy to see him. I'll almost be disappointed if I don't see him named in the team, unless, of course, Zach Bailey does get cleared and is fine to play and his hamstring's okay. But if he's not playing, then I would, I'd be verging on disappointment if Sammy Marshall didn't get the call up because he's been really, really good. And Friday was easily his best game for mine anyway.
Was he playing as an inside mid?
A little bit more outside, but some of his kicks inside 50 were elite. And it is very much that Bailey role. So, you got that offensive wingman that Bailey plays, and then, Berry to balance him out. There's the defensive wingman. Sammy Marshall was very much playing that offensive wingman. Ended up with 27 touches. You got a clearance. He was good. 4 marks, 3 tackles.
Yeah. The only other alternative would be if you were to put Jasper back up onto the wing and bring McKenna in, but I, like you said, I would sooner look more towards a future building.
And Connor McKenna's defensive accountability is still just a little bit for me.
Yep, understandable. No, I think those are good picks. Yes, the doggies. The doggies.
Yeah. Well, just quickly while we're chatting twos, good win for those guys. Last week I was speaking about the lineup that we rolled out, which was unrecognizable. This was a very strong twos lineup that we pulled out.
This was the revenge of the reserves.
Yeah, Ty Gallup came back in, Tommy Duday came back in, obviously Kadeen Coleman came back in. There was a whole host of changes. It was about his full strength. Henry Smith did play, and he was okay. he was okay. Largely forward and a bit of ruck. Kick 0 goals, 17 touches, 12 hit-outs. Tackle a couple of clearances. So he was fine. He's missed so much footy that I don't think anyone was sitting there expecting much. So, yeah, he was okay. Tom Doedee was not poor, and I don't know how many minutes in the end he actually got, but 1 mark, no tackles, 7 touches. So that either tells me he had a really poor game or managed minutes. So I'm probably hoping for the latter. Dev Rob was really good again. He's just a tackle machine. So if they're looking to bring that into the lineup, to add on to that pressure and that intensity, then Dev Rob is probably obviously a call-up option, but I doubt it.
Future-proofing.
Yeah. Other than that, Brandon Ryan's actually put together a couple of good weeks. I haven't been big on Brandon Ryan, but credit where it's due. He's had a couple of good weeks, and we end up winning by 6 goals. So that's pretty good considering Carlton's VFL team has actually been pretty strong.
Inexplicably, how's that?
I don't know, but they've been playing all right.
I guess it's probably a bit like ours last year, where we had pilfered them all year and still made finals and stuff like that. So, we lost the prelim to Bulldogs or whatever, eliminating something or other.
Yeah.
In that really windy Haley game.
That's right.
It was insanity. It is kind of odd when you have like a completely depleted first team and the reserves still do all right. So, yes, good on them. And I think some of those players, you could even throw Coleman, Henry Smith, and Doedee. You just get them to play a bit of football.
Yeah.
And if they're required, roll the dice. But you're looking at another preseason for those guys. Getting them to another preseason, I think.
Yeah. I mean, yes, that's obviously the goal. I would be surprised if we don't see Kitty back in the lineup before the end of the year. He obviously needs to prove himself fitness-wise, especially if his body's holding up. And, our key defensive stocks, it is horses for courses at this stage, as you said. But, Tom Doedee may have a role to play. Not sure. So
not super key back, though. He's sort of that floater.
He's more your froggy role. So it's going to be wait and see, but I'd be surprised if we did see him. Kitty, not so much. Yeah. I would be surprised if we saw Tom Doedee. All right,
I think I'm also talking expectations more than, possibilities.
Dogs, Friday night, Gabba. The Gabba has not been a happy hunting ground, and the crowd has been, you do notice it a little bit more when you do watch the Victorian games, and you can hear the Lions chant echo through Marvel Stadium and stuff, and you're like, you're not getting that at the Gabba at the moment, which is really disappointing, and we're certainly not the only podcast, and we're certainly not the only people to notice and talk about it. So
there's been quite a bit of traction about that at the moment, particularly the volume of the music, and you spoke about class action lawsuits about concussions. 20 years from now, we're going to be having class action deafness lawsuits.
Sure.
I don't know. I'll take the tinfoil out. Return to whatever. Did you watch the game yesterday? Doggies in Adelaide?
I did. Cracking game. I think it was probably the game I was looking forward to the most across this weekend. That wasn't obviously the Lions game. Geelong GWS was pretty good as well for a while, but I think everyone had their eyes on this. Sam Darcy, Riley Thilthorpe. Where are both of these? Both of these teams, their criticism is like, yeah, you're beating up on the lower teams. You can't beat anyone in the top 8. So, who's actually going to stand up here?
It was almost like a double KO at times, they're swinging past each other and both knocking each other out. But Adelaide, I think Adelaide were much more impressive than the Bulldogs on the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, Adelaide
and Pelly have a game, though.
Probably. Yeah, apparently he did. I don't know what it is with my brain not ever being able to see that guy. Him and Caleb Sarong, I'm just like, I can look at the numbers go up, but I get confused.
Yeah, fair enough. No, Bond had an absolute blinder, 37 touches, 12 tackles. 800 odd meters gained, so he had a game. Eddie Richards 29.
Bont is good. I'm not insane. Bont is really good. I like the Bont, but
everyone does. You can't not. So like the criticism on the Dogs is that their back six they do let you have a shot. Obviously, really good offensively. We know that. But defensively, especially in their back six, they might let you out the back, and they do offer a little bit of space for you to work in. So we really need to be able to take advantage of that if we're going to cause them some trouble on Friday night.
What the hell happened to Matt Kennedy in that game? He had 6 touches.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there was any injuries to come out of it, so not sure.
No, well, he just, how much did he play? Hold on, here we are. Where is he?
Time on
Kennedy.
Ground, 74%. So, yeah, he was there.
He was there. That's the 3-word summation of his game. He was there.
He might have been playing a role on Dawson or something. I didn't watch it that closely.
Well, he didn't do a great job of that either.
I was going to say if he did,
27 and 2 for Dawson. Now, did you see the head clash between the Lobster and the other guy?
I did, yeah. Oof.
Now, to me, the cynical me, that is a concussion created by modern AFL rules.
Yeah.
Because they both went in head first, beak first, big lob right in the forehead, got him under the eye or above the eye, whatever. If they go inside on, both of them, they hit shoulders, everyone's fine. If one of them goes inside on, he gets a 3-week suspension. So what are we teaching the kids here? That is a created concussion by the AFL. And I hate it. Not here for it. Anyway.
No, I agree.
The Bulldogs, the flat track bullies. Yes. I mean, they got threats. Yeah, they are, but they have been a good team for quite a while. Like Norton and Darcy obviously are a bit of a problem. Norton somehow figured out, well, did you see his miss kick?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we're at liability to comment as well. Because we've seen some bad ones.
Yeah.
But this was as bad as I've ever seen.
He's had a few over the years, yeah.
His kicking action is weird. It's almost like he's kicking off the wrong foot, like a cricket bowler that's bowling off the wrong step, which... Yeah, there
is something quite strange about it for sure. But, I mean, 5 goals won on the weekend, so hopefully he doesn't recreate that on Friday. Are you going the same matchup that we did in round 5 as, the best one-on-ones there? Harris Andrews.
Yep, just got to get it done. Just got to go at him, be physical and be hard, because that's what they were with him. They were physical, they were rough, and he punctured someone's lung.
Sam Darcy
couldn't get into the game.
He seems like the sort of guy that would feel really bad about that as well, Sam Darcy.
I see his dad's his dad, though.
His dad is his dad?
That is ruthless.
Well, I think that which it does mean it leaves, providing the changes that we forecast, that Darcy Gardner probably gets that role on Norton, or do you go Froggy?
I would go Gardner on Norton and Froggy to sort of float. They got a couple of those like mid-sized. There's that guy that you like, Riley West, who's like way taller than he looks because he's got a giant head and like a small body. He's like a pitted olive on a twig.
I think Froggy will be sort of responsible for him. And then, Vandermeer, who gives a shit, you probably give that to someone like Wilmot or Starcevich. They haven't got, without Waitman, they haven't got a really strong, dangerous small forward.
They've just got kind of guys who can pop up. Richards can kick goals from midfield. Fraser's pretty good. Even Garcia is not... Is it Garcia?
I like Garcia. Yeah, I like Garcia.
Of course you do. And then the other one, not West, Sanders.
Yeah, he's pretty handy.
They're players. They're all right.
They've got a lot of really handy players. Their midfield bats deep, and they've got arguably the best player in the competition in Sam Darcy up forward, who's a genuine freak.
Yeah. Harris got to go to work. So
yeah, should be a good match. It should be a good match. It's gonna be a tough match. yeah, I'm a bit worried about it. But you know me, I'm always worried about this sort of stuff.
Just got to relax, It's what will be, will be. I'm looking forward to it. I think that our team is better than theirs. Would you throw a Jared Berry onto a Bontempelli?
Well, we've done that in the past. Yes. And then whoever doesn't go to Bontempelli, like Dunkley Berry, the other one needs to be responsible in some way for Ed Richards.
Yeah, could be good. Otherwise, then you're looking at it going, well, you've then got 3, so you're looking at McCluggage or Neil going head-to-head with whoever their third
Fraser
person is.
Or, yeah.
Kennedy.
Like
so
too,
it could end up being this big nil-all draw in the middle with like Kennedy negating Neil, Dunkley negating what's-his-face and the other one. So it'll end up just being like Fort and Tim English like trying to grab the ball and running. So it could be interesting.
All right, well, let's have a look at our last 6 games. We did sort of forecast this earlier on in the show. Our back end of the season is a tough one. I mean, according to whatever the stats are, it is the hardest run home. So obviously the Bulldogs this Friday night, the Suns at People's First Stadium, Collingwood at the G, Sydney at home, Dockers over at Optus, and then finishing things off with Hawthorn at the Gabba as well. So that's a pretty tough last 6 games. All of those teams bar Sydney are in the 8 or top 9. I'm including Bulldogs sitting at 9th in the top 8 because I am. And Sydney is not the Sydney that they were either. So they are tougher than their ladder position suggests. So it is a tough game. The last 6, I'd be pretty happy if we walked away with 4 wins from those.
Yeah, I think we kind of got a little bit lucky that GWS did a job on Geelong because...
Yeah, that gave us a bit of breathing room, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I know that it puts Adelaide, right behind us, but to me, the threat for finishing top 2 was always going to be Geelong and their, like, easy run home. So having an extra game to lose in there, I think, is helpful. It still means we pretty much need to be perfect in order to secure a top 2. But I think that I mean, it was a funny round, and we'll probably get onto it with the tipping. But Adelaide can still lose games. Same with everybody. I think we just take it one game at a time. As boring as that sounds, win all of the games, and if we win all the games, I think we'll finish top of the table, which I know sounds insane, but that means we won't have to warm up in the sun on grand final day.
I suppose so. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I know I'm not offering a lot, but the thing is, I've said in weeks gone by that I'm really excited by these last 6 games. I'm looking forward to them. I'm like, the fear element or the nervousness or the worry has kind of gone, and I don't know whether that's just coming from winning a premiership and just it being like, okay, cool, well, we're good. We know we're good. So it's just a matter of doing the job in these games where we have kind of done a pretty bloody good job of it this year. So I think the team will be up for these games, and getting a bit of a run on into finals will be good. It could be a very interesting end of the year.
A lot of the chat pre-game to Thursday was about our game style and speaking to Fags and the way we're moving the ball. There's been a concerted effort in the sort of last 4 or 5 weeks of handball game has gone up a little bit, handball receive as well, and the way we're moving the ball. And it was really noticeable against the Cats, and the way I said, like, Zorko was just super keen to get that ball on shoe as quick as possible and get that ball moving and try and disrupt the defenses and not give them the chance to set up. And I think that's going to be really key against people like Collingwood, definitely.
I think, well, looking at the way that Gold Coast tried to kind of razz the Magpies is that they really tried to move the ball quickly, and they also were really... It's almost like the centre corridor, we've reduced that into like half its width, and we're getting powerful runners. It's often it's Rayner or it's Bailey.
Barry's doing the job as well.
Yeah, Barry, like they're powerful runners running through the middle. So even if you get there with a tackle, it's hard to stop. and it's more than one threat. Like a lot of teams watching the game today, like you watch St Kilda and it's like, well, Wanganeen Miller is awesome, but who else you got?
Yeah.
Whereas we've got threats all over the place, which I think is really,
Wilmot into that as well.
Yeah, of course. And Wilmot's proactive game and intercept stuff has been really, really good. And I think this front foot kind of defensive method works really well for him. It gets him involved. It's almost like he's an anticipatory cat that's like waiting to pounce, and we're giving him like license to do that. So I think it would be remiss to think that we haven't evolved our game style. It's just a matter of trying to kind of, shine it up and get it ready. And I don't think we necessarily have seen the full extent of what can happen.
It hasn't been consistent at all across the year. So,
it wasn't consistent last year until literally the grand final. Like it was fits and spurts.
Yeah, that was the perfect game. It was like the back half against GWS. We really got that, that quick handball game, and that was just like throw caution to the wind a little bit. And the same against the Cats the week after. But then the premiership itself was built on quick ball movement, but precise and sort of methodical as well. That uncontested mark game. And Fag said in the presser on Thursday night that, he'd like to think we can change it. There was still a fair amount of uncontested marks, but we were able to get the ball in those handball receives moving through the middle of the ground to get the ball moving forward as well. So if we can get a nice balance of the two and, able to shift gears when we need and want, it puts us in good stead. But, these next 3 weeks are going to be really tough. Bulldogs, Suns and Collingwood are going to be really, really tough. I think Freo's going to be tough over there as well.
Yeah, Fremantle, they fumbled their way to victory the other night. That was unbelievable. Was it? Last night.
Yeah, how's kick straight. Yeah,
how's Brayshaw his interview after the game?
Yeah,
Did you see
pissing blood, absolutely pissing blood. But how about that for a game from the Dockers? Over 100 tackles team wise, and Brayshaw responsible for 14 of them, and just pissing blood from his head, giving a post match. You'd be pretty happy after the week they've had for them. So. Yeah.
How's about that, though? Just like AFL, we care about head knocks. Also, have this interview while you're bleeding out live on television. Also, did you see Dan Butler's elbow today?
Yeah, I wish I didn't, but I did, yeah.
So I actually went back and looked at it again because that stuff doesn't really weird me.
It weirded me enough. Good. It weirded me enough. All right, let's have a look at tipping. I've absolutely had a mare this weekend. What have I got? That whole middle section of my tips are cooked. I ended up with 4, and all the 50-50s in the middle I missed out on. So I tipped Collingwood, as you know, went with the Dogs at Marvel, tipped the Cats, tipped the Bombers, and tipped the Hawks. And they all let me down.
Yeah, see, I was a coward. I swapped my Gold Coast to Collingwood. I swapped my Adelaide to Bulldogs, and I swapped my GWS to Geelong. So I'm a bit annoyed. I got 5, but I figured I sent you a message being like, why don't I just tip the teams I want to win? And you didn't reply. And then I looked at your tips and realized that they were worse than mine, and then understood why you didn't reply. So perfectly understandable. Horrible. Yes.
All right, horrible. Let's have a look to next week then. Thursday night, Marvel Stadium, 7:30. Giants, Essendon. Give me the Giants by fucking 100 points.
How much you got? Yeah, are you going tip top?
I've gone 81 points because, honestly, Essendon, I am feeling sorry for them because it looks like Nick Martin's done an ACL, and then Setterfield as well got injured. They're fucked.
Yeah. It's Essendon, so
yeah, I don't feel sorry for them, but I kind of do at the moment. You've gone to the Giants as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I got the Giants by 99 points.
Yeah, I am going to tip the Lions, but I am nervous. Don't look at me like that. Hawthorn, Port Adelaide. Port has won their last 2. Obviously, the infamous semi-final last year and earlier on this year as well. Can Kenny get them up again for one last time against the Hawks before he bows out? Down in Tassie. So
not this time. They're going to save it for the showdown, and that'll be Kenny's last great victory, I think.
Sydney to beat North. Here's one for you. Carlton and Melbourne, 7:30 at the MCG Saturday night.
Melbourne. Yeah, Melbourne.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I am too, but I might change that one.
Here's one for you. West Coast or Richmond?
Did you watch any... Oh, my God, that Essendon Richmond game is the worst game of footy I've ever seen.
So, as I said, the first quarter was quite good. I was like, oh, no, I'm going to turn over to the Hawthorn Fremantle game. Like, I'm turning off a pretty good game. And then I heard what had happened. So I feel responsible for that. But I think the West Coast, just because you can't have one win. And also they were doing all right against Port today. They, up until the last quarter, they were right in it. And they were winning pretty well for a while. So I'm going to go Eagles as well. It's all falling apart for Richmond. Noah Bolter will be not allowed to play that game. Tom Lynch is gone. Yeah. Also, that other fella that self-committed himself for the racial
Jack
slur.
Graham,
Homophobic slur or whatever.
But he's West Coast. Yeah, that was...
he's West Coast. Right, he used to be Richmond?
He used to be Richmond, yeah. Him and Baker both went to West Coast. Cats to beat the Saints. Collingwood to beat Freo. Freo plays the MCG pretty well. Don't be surprised if Freo win that game. That's the exact bullshit game they win. That's our ticket to top spot. Nah, it's not our ticket because Collingwood have quite a hard run in. So Collingwood have got to play Fremantle, they got to play us, they got to play Adelaide at Adelaide, and they got to play Hawthorn. So that's not roses. Plus, they've got old guys that are ready to bloody go into a coffin. Don't report me to the text message thing or whatever. Boop, boop. And Adelaide Suns is going to be a belter as well to finish things off at Adelaide Oval Sunday. Obviously, that game ended in a fair amount of controversy earlier on in the year at People's First Stadium. And I don't think Adelaide's going to forget that.
No, this is going to be a great battle of key forwards. Got the full house. Either way. Also, how's Cadman as well? I know he's not Gold Coast, but him and Jed Walter are kind of similar in my brain. They kind of fill the same space. Sure. Yeah, they're just both young key forwards to the G teams. So Kelly Underwood called me that, but that's what they are. So
okay.
I think that'll be there's some good games. The Sunday, I'll tell you what, are they at the same time? Oh, they're overlapping, idiots. Channel 7 got stooged this weekend by having none of the top 8 games, except they had the Thursday and the Friday, and then Saturday they missed 3 of the top 8 teams playing each other and got all of the bottom ones on the Sunday. And it's like, well, they're getting some better games this time, but then they're overlapping them.
Yeah,
why are we doing that? I hate it. Anyway, I've gone basically all the home teams except for Melbourne. So
at this stage, so have I. Oh,
and GWS.
Giants. Yeah,
but they play anywhere, and it's Essendon. The wheel.
Yeah, the wheel. Thanks to Crisp Communications, crispcoms.co. If you need any sort of marketing, if you've got a podcast, if you have a business that needs a push, Abby and the team at Crisp Comms will give you that in spades. And they're offering you free Brisbane Lions Fancast stickers that you can whack on your drink bottle, your bloody laptop, your school locker, your car if you want. I saw a car when I was down in Melbourne that had a Brisbane Lions Fancast sticker on it.
Jeez, not even my car has a Brisbane Lions Fancast sticker on it.
No, it was me mum's car.
Oh, it was your mum. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Who did we have? You had Joe Dan last week, and I had someone that was cool, but I had Matho.
Yeah, you had Beast Mode. It was a good battle.
Was it?
I mean,
they were fun. They were fun players to talk about, I guess, is what you're going to say.
All right, let's spin the wheel. It is my turn to pass or hold. Ooh, Jared Brennan.
That's a tempter for you, isn't it?
It is a tempter because there's a bit to talk about there. But I'm going to pass. So I'm going to leave you with old one mitt Jared Brennan. Oh, and I've got Kitty Coleman.
Well, this is interesting because we've got basically what could be against what could have been.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Now, I don't ever want to profess that there's similarities in terms of, I don't want Kadeen Coleman's career to be what Jared Brennan's is, but, well, yeah. Jared Brennan, not quite this guy, is all I'll say.
Yeah. Look, Jared Brennan, as you said, what could have been, and, if Kitty Coleman's career, I'm banging the desk here, I'm touching wood, does get cut short due to injury, it won't be for the same reason that Jared Brennan's career never really took off, is because he simply just couldn't give a shit.
Yes. There's a few memories of Jared Brennan, isn't there? You've got that game against Collingwood, I think, in 2004, maybe?
Yeah, it would have been around about then. Well, it might not have been that early. Because I don't know, how many years did he play with us before he went off to the Gold Coast?
I think he played 5 or 6. No. Oh, when did the Gold Coast start? I don't know.
2011.
Who did I get here? I got Brennan, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Look him up. Jarrod Brennan. I'm fairly certain it was 2004 because it was like, they're coming off the back of 3.
He debuted in 2003, would you believe? 7 games then. That's crazy.
Goodness me. He was a bit of a, unique player. Could kind of play anywhere. I've got very minimal, everyone remembers him. I remember him having dreadlocks at one point in time. I remember him headbutting a Port Adelaide player and getting suspended for a while. I remember seeing that and being like, oh no, what's that? He's gone the headbutt. That's going to be trouble. He played a lot of years. He played 10. Oh no, that's...
He played 173 games. He played 10 odd years. And that's more than I remember from Jared Brennan. Obviously, he peaked in the late 2000s when everyone else had retired and, we were left to the mercurial stuff from him.
So he played 8 seasons with us, albeit, the first few, not much really happening. We were chasing a premiership, and I suppose that level of randomness probably wasn't necessary at that time. He was a player that could do absolutely nothing, but
absolutely
also
everything.
Could kick 5 goals, all from outside 50, holding the ball in the wrong hand to the wrong foot, and then would get a hit out in the ruck at the same time. And you're like, okay, cool.
His ruck work was so strangely good because he just had this enormous leap on him. It's crazy.
Just hang time kept going. But aside from that, he went to the Suns. I don't really want to think about those years in terms of, what the Lions were like then and also what the Suns were like then. So he probably got a good pay packet. He
probably did. He ended up playing 50 plus games for the Suns in the end, so it's more than I remember.
I like that got him listed as a defender when to me he was always like a wing attacker.
Yeah.
Forward. Why do you shackle that in defence? But I suppose they did do that to Darryl White too, so he did follow the same career path. But yeah, nearly 200 games, it's a lot. Could kick a goal, could kick a football, could one mitt it, and also loved a long sleeve jersey and a glove.
Just fantastic combos.
And also, he, I don't know if it was him or Nigel Lappin that was setting the trend at that time. Do we go short curly? Do we go cornrows? Not cornrows, what's the dreadlocks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about Kadeen Coleman? Because this is just going to be a bit kind of sad, right?
It doesn't have to be sad. I think, we all know what Kitty's capable of, and I think we've all just got our collective breaths held and our fingers crossed that he's able to actually forge the career that we hope he can have, because we saw, especially that 2023 final series, how good he is. Not just his ball use, but, his defensive work was coming along really well. Very much like Wilmot, he knew when to move forward and intercept the ball and go from there. Probably, aside from that 23 season and final series, this year, his first game back, his first kick, like ridiculous, marking it off the back 50 on the flank and then just laser point it straight into the middle of the ground. And you're like, holy hell, you've missed so much football with your knee. And then you've just had the audacity, the absolute testicales to pull off that kick in your first game back. So I think we're all just waiting to see if he comes back and can cement himself in this, starting lineup and make a real solid push for finals in 25.
Yeah, durability has been kind of an issue for him over the years. He's because he came and he played a bit of small forward in the 21 season and then sort of was shuffled around a bit, played a bit all over the place, and then it was sort of finding that half-back position really worked. And there was an unfortunate game against Richmond in that 2023 year that we won't talk about, where that was like the prototype of what his game style could be. And it really, funnily enough, was it 2023? No, 2022. 2022 when we played Richmond at the MCG. It was that fucking Tom Lynch one. And that was sort of one of the first times he played across half-back and impacted. It was a really like a wow, look at this guy go. Obviously, we didn't seal the deal. And then that kind of, locked him into that spot for a while. And, he was pretty bloody good in that final series, I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, we lost the grand final and obviously Bobby took away the Norm Smith, but Kitty was right behind him in terms of voting. He, won our finals player of the year that year. And, it was just like we all walked away from that grand final obviously immensely disappointed with the result, but I think we were all looking forward to how Kitty Coleman was going to build in 2024, because obviously 2023 was by far his best year by a long, long way, and we were all excited by what he could produce in 24 to build off the back of that, and obviously that didn't happen. And then, all right, the anticipation builds again, and then it just simply hasn't happened for him, and here we are coming into round 19, and he's only got one game under his belt in the senior team. And you just sort of sit there and wonder if it is going to happen. You hope it does, but I guess everyone's expectations have been tempered a little bit.
Well, not mine,
All right, okay.
Which has been the blight of my judgment of other players all year. I really like him, and I think there's, he's not the youngest. He's 25. But at the same time, you're looking at it going, there's plenty of football, and it's in a position where you can really... You can play a lot of football there for a long time.
All-Australian.
Well, how old's Zorko? Zorko's 35, 36, yeah. So he's got, by my reckoning, another 12 years ahead of him. So I'm expecting 11 All-Australian Blazers. And... But it's... Yeah, it is. It's a tantalising one. They were both tantalising ones. But, hopefully he can just come back and play some regular footy. There's plenty of kind of anecdotal evidence of players coming back from knees, taking a bit of time, and then hitting their strides, a year or two after. So, particularly a year or two after they come back playing solid football. So, we'll wait and see. But I think the thing that has always been kind of... you mentioned it, in his first game back, just back pocket, hitting the corridor. That stuff in your brain, and that stuff that it's good that hasn't gone away, that boldness and the decision making and the backing of your ability. So, and that's half the battle, I think, a lot when you're playing those kind of clutch positions. So, fun one. Jared Brennan or Kitty Coleman? I know who I would. It's like both of their peaks are so interestingly different. And
equally
consistency, consistency is... I mean, you'd probably say Coleman's been more consistent, but he hasn't been able to get on the pitch. So, whereas Brennan, you're like, spin the wheel.
Imagine if he cared. Like, he played almost 200 AFL games, and it's like he'd rather be anywhere else.
Don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Chuck it over to the socials. You're going to have your vote. It's been a good episode, and it's been a good week for the Lions, and hopefully we can keep that rolling as we take on the Doggies on Friday. I'm happy they've got a 6-day break, and they've got to travel. Like obviously we had to,
yeah.
Like obviously we had to travel back, but an 8-day break is very much what the doctor ordered.
Did you see Zorko on Channel 7?
No, I heard little bits and pieces. He
wasn't like doing commentary. He was sort of doing stuff with like Kate McCarthy in the breaks. Yeah. It was good. It was fine. Like
I like Kate McCarthy. She's good
really
too. Great.
It is interesting. I think we talked about this maybe the other week, where it's like when he mentioned on Agenda Setters that he's like, oh, I'm kind of doing a bit of coaching, because they mentioned he wants to get into media, which I think he'd be good at the media stuff. But it's like they've ramped up their allure to try and get him into the media, because they sort of they've done it with him, and they're doing it with Toby Green to try and get people that are kind of based in the Sydney and Brisbane areas so probably they don't have to pay people to fly up.
They know are divisive and engaging people as well.
Yeah, but it was good. He wore a disgustingly bright white jacket. It's the sort of thing that I imagine you wear, Brooksy.
Yeah, you know me.
Bright white jacket. So just another thing with the Fancast Discord. I did a bit of what are you on about?
Well, quickly while we're on fashion, don't forget BrisbaneLionsFancast.com.au. Order yourself some Brisbane Lions Fancast t-shirts. Use the code THANKYOU10 for 10% off. Play on.
Yeah, nice one. Plug head. I'm doing my own plug now, so it sounds worse. I did a bit of a revamp of the Discord to make it less cluttered. So jump on if you want. If you don't, that's okay. But there's all kinds of stuff now where you can talk about games. I think the main thing was that I was kind of having a lot of insane theses being written, and I've now put them into a tinfoil hat zone, which I think people will be happy with. So they know to find them there if they need to, and if they don't want to see them, they don't have to. So it's all good. But yeah, all fun there. Nice and fun and family friendly and all that. So all good.
If you do want to join the Discord, the link is available through our website, BrisbaneLionsFancast.com.au. There's plenty going on there. We're building a little community there. I'm hopeless at checking that. I really am, and I apologize.
That's all right. We've actually got server guidelines now, because I thought we might as well do that. So it does say prefer to be positive to our team, but it says opposition slander allowed. So yes, I'm all for that.
You love to see it. All right, we'll be back next week after a game against the Doggies, and hopefully we'll be talking about another complete performance, and hopefully no more season-ending injuries would be nice too. I wanted to see your face when I said that, and I got it.
Oh, I'm done.